We've been looking at the roots of unity, and one of the surprising and cool things about the roots of unity is that even though they are by and large all complex numbers, the roots of unity actually give us a lot of insights about just the real numbers, which is just one of the many reasons why looking at complex numbers is not just looking at some weirdo, exotic, peripheral system of numbers. It's actually a very natural extension of the real numbers, which is why we get results like this one you can see in part D here, which has nothing to do apparently with complex numbers, but we're going to get there via knowledge about complex numbers. So let's have a look at this first question and see what knowledge is going to be relevant to it. It says, let omega equal cos 2 pi 9 plus I sine 2 pi 9. That's what that cis notation is an abbreviation for. And then show that omega to the power of k, where k is an integer, is a solution of this equation over here on the right hand side. And when you have a look at that equation, even though it's never really used, specifically the language of roots of unity here, this equation here tells us we're looking at the 9th roots of unity. So as I see it, there are kind of two key questions that we need to answer to be able to show the result that's being required here, right? First, we know what omega is, that's been defined for us, but what's omega to the power of k? How are we going to deal with that? And then secondly, what does it mean for some complex number, like omega to the power of k? What does it mean for it to be a solution of the equation z to the 9 equals 1? How do we go about showing that? So let's begin with part A. I'm going to write this out in long form. Omega equals cos 2 pi on 9 plus I sine 2 pi on 9. And then what I want to think about is, well, what piece of knowledge or what skill do I have access to that enables me to raise a complex number to an integer power? And hopefully your brain is going there. It's going to be De Moivre's theorem, right? So I'm going to say, if this is omega, then omega to the power of k is going to be equal to, you recall that this raising to a power multiplies these two arguments here by whatever power we raise to. So I'm going to write that as cos 2k pi on 9, that's probably the most natural way to write it, plus I sine 2k pi on 9, and this doesn't come out of thin air, it comes by De Moivre's theorem, so I should quote that, right? So I'm going to say by De Moivre's theorem. So this has settled for me what omega to the power of k is, and then I want to say, well, how do I show that this is a solution of the equation z to the 9 equals 1? Well, I can actually go a little bit further here because I actually know a lot about what happens when you have some multiple here and raise it to the power 9. I'm not just raising it to the power of k, which is the first use of De Moivre's theorem. I'm going to raise that to the power of 9 because to be a solution of an equation means substituting in that particular value will make the equation true. It will satisfy the equation. That's what we mean when we say something like, oh, what are the solutions of an equation like this? The solutions are x equals -2 and x equals -3, a fact you would arrive at by, factorizing. That's an x plus 2 and an x plus 3. So it can be clearly shown by putting in -2. It doesn't matter what happens to this second factor over here. This makes this 0, so 0 times anything does indeed equal 0. So what we're trying to show is that if I put this into here, raise it to the power of 9, I should get 1. Well, that means I've got to use a second application of De Moivre's theorem. So what I'll say is, similarly, and now I'm going to, that's very messy, raise this thing here to the power of 9. I will get omega to the power of k to the power of 9 equals, and now, just like before, I am going to multiply these things by the integer power I raised by, in this case 9. So what I get is, very simply, cos 2k pi plus I sine 2k pi. And what's great about this is that I now see I've got these trigonometric functions here which are periodic every 2 pi radians. So cos of 2k pi, if you have a think about what cos is doing, let's just draw a really quick and dirty sketch over here. This is what cos looks like, right? So you can see at 0, at 2 pi, it would happen at, if I kept on going to 4 pi and 6 pi. In other words, at every integer multiple of 2 pi, cos is equal to 1. You can see it up there, right? That's the amplitude that you can see there. So I've got this 2k pi, no matter what value of k is, because I know k is an integer, I can say that's 1. And similarly, if I get rid of this cos graph and put in its place a sine graph, horribly messy, but I can still see the most important thing, which is that at all integer multiples of 2 pi, like 0, like 2 pi, like 4 pi, sine is equal to 0. That's the value that it takes on. So I can say plus I times 0. That's what happens to this. And the reason for this is because of what I mentioned before, the fact that I have a domain restriction on k is an integer, and that's the reason why you get these particular values. So since that's my reason, I should quote it, I should invoke that fact. So k is an integer, that's the reason why I'm getting this lovely simplification here. So what have I just shown? I've got this guy here equaling just, this is 0, this is 1. So because this satisfies, this is in the form z to the power of 9 equals 1, it's just that this is my chosen z, that's enough to say this is a solution, right? So I can say, therefore, omega to the power of k is a solution. That's all we needed. So that question came into parts. Number one, I had to deal with what omega to the power of k was, and then I had to know, well, what does it mean for something to be a solution of a given equation? I need to show that substitution. Okay, so far so good. So there's part A done and dusted. Part B says show that, and then there's this long polynomial in omega here equals -1. How am I going to do this? Well, because this is a show question, right, I want to make sure my working is very clear. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take advantage of a factorization that I know, but I'm not just going to pull it out of nowhere. This is a show question. So I'm going to say, consider, because this is a result which isn't used like super frequently, it's going to be not the difference of squares, not the difference of cubes, but the difference of ninth powers. That's what I'm going to have here if I consider taking this over to the left-hand side, z to the power of 9 minus 1. Z to the power of 9 is the ninth power of z. 1 is also a ninth power. It's the ninth power of 1. So therefore what I'm going to do is I know in my mind that actually this is going to be a factorization, but I'm going to have to prove that this is the fact because the question does say show. So it's going to go like this, and it's a general form. You may recognize this from doing, difference of squares and difference of cubes is just the smaller versions of this. So this goes all the way down because they chose for us a very high power. All of this plus 1. I'm just going to consider this, right? And I want to see what happens when I expand it. So I'm going to say this equals 2. Now what happens is when I multiply z by everything here, this is going to become z to the 9, z to the 8, z to the 7, and so on. And my last term will be a z, right? So everything ratchets up by 1 power. So I'm just going to be a bit cheeky, and I'm just going to write all of those terms, and then there will be a z to the 9 hanging out the front. So this is what happens when I multiply z by everything. What happens when I multiply everything by minus 1? Well, you get all these same terms, but the coefficient will be -1. So again, I'm going to be a little bit sneaky. I'm going to take all these terms, and then instead of adding them, what's happening is I am subtracting. That's the difference that this makes. So all of these become subtracted as well. Like I said, sorry, that's a bit cheeky, but at least you don't have to wait for me to write all these terms out again. So this is just me expanding the whole thing in a very, very long form. But you can see it doesn't take much effort to sort of notice that many terms are going to cancel in here, right? Your z to the 7s, your z to the 8s, everything except for the z to the 9 hanging out the front, no like terms for it to collect with. This -1 hanging out at the end. So these guys here will be your only remaining terms. So they equal to everything z to the 9 minus 1. So therefore I can say, therefore, and remember, like if I weren't asked to show that this was a result, I would probably just go straight to this factorization that I saw on the top line, but I've been asked to show it, so I don't want just to come out of thin air. I can say, therefore, since, whoopsie daisy, let's actually write this, since z to the 9 equals 1, that's what I got from part A. I can say z to the 9 minus 1, that equals 0, but I just found an alternative way to write z to the 9 minus 1. I just showed that z to the 9 minus 1 is equal to this factorization here, right? So I'm going to substitute this for my z to the 9 minus 1. So that equals 0. This is my new left-hand side. So how do I go from this to the result I'm after? Well, I can say, I'm going to get a solution for this from z equals 1, but I'm also going to get a solution from this being equal to 0, right? If this is equal to 0, then the product of this factor and this factor will indeed be 0. So therefore I can say, all right, we'll write therefore. Therefore, this guy over here, that can equal 0. And all I need to do to get this over to what I want is I've got all of these guys here, right, which I can substitute in to here, and I can say, oh, all right, well, I can take this over and make it a -1, and I know that omega to the power of k is already a solution of this equation, so I can just choose k equals 1, and that will give me omega, right? So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to say subtract 1 from both sides. There were a couple of steps I just described there. So that equals -1. I'm going to say, but omega to the power of k is a solution. Oopsie daisy. Is a solution. So if k equals 1, then I'm putting in omega to the power of 1 as a solution. So therefore I'm going to get, as required, omega to the power of 8. Plus omega to the power of 7, plus omega to the power of 6. I'm going to get all of them. My omegas are bigger than my z's, so I'm all the way over here. And that should equal, as required, -1. So I can say, done. That is the result that I was asked to prove in part B. So show that this is true, finished.